Excited for Planet Comicon 2016. Before we get started, just a few reminders. The exits are in the rear. Please limit your question to one. Please, no video or flash photography, and please don't ask for autographs or hugs. You know our moderator. We are thrilled to have her. She was from Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Bring It On. Let's welcome to the stage Geek Nation's Claire Kramer.
You guys, it's our last panel together. I know. Have you guys had a good time at Planet Comicon this year? Yeah? Well, I personally cannot think of a better way to end the weekend. Do we have any brown coats out there? Yeah? Me too. Me too. We have an amazing next guest. Let's start off by watching a little video clip they put together of some of his work. Roll the clip.
We will rule over all this land, and we will call it this land.
There's not one that our system can eventually break down. Then
I want a lot of medical jargon. I'll talk to a doctor.
You are talking to a doctor.
She always did love to dance.
I'm a leaf on the wind. Watch out.
I keep dying. Why does Hollywood want me dead?
From Serenity, it was a great TV show.
Serenity was the movie. The television show was Firefly.
It was?
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
Please welcome the best big brother in the verse, Sean Maher! Welcome! Did you know you were so loved in Kansas City?
I did not.
You are. You are. Have you ever seen, do you ever get to see your own video intros?
No.
Did it sound good to you?
Yeah.
It was pretty fun. You were pretty funny in it. You want to see it?
Yeah, I would.
You want to see it? Can we play it again?
So I know what everyone's
I want to
laughing
see it
about.
again. Yeah? No?
Yeah. Again?
Oh, here we go.
We will rule over all this land, and we will call it this land.
There's not one that our system can eventually break down. Then
I want a lot of medical jargon. I'll talk to a doctor.
You are talking to a doctor.
She always did love to dance.
I'm a leaf on the wind.
What the?
Watch out.
I keep dying. Why does Hollywood want me dead?
From Serenity, it was a great TV show.
Serenity was the movie. The television show was Firefly.
It was? Yeah. That's good stuff.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome. And that is good stuff, Sean.
That is good stuff. I forgot courage makes my junk pop.
So 13 years later, I mean, who would have thunk Firefly
Yeah.
would still not only have such a massive following, but almost growing in popularity?
Yeah.
What do you think resonates with these guys about that show?
I mean, I wouldn't have thunk it when I signed up years and years ago. You know, I don't know. I think it's there's just something kind of, there's a universal draw to it all, and I think it's now sort of like what you're saying. There's now I meet all these young, you know, 10, 11, 12 kids are watching it for the first time, and I, you know, ask them, does it seem dated to you? You know, and they're like, no, not at all. It's, you know, it seems remarkably relevant. I think what I fell in love with, you know, when I first signed on to do it, which was sort of this like, this notion like, you know, what if there was something very plausible about it if we, you know, if we destroyed all of Earth's resources and then the United States and China sort of scrambled to get the next two biggest planets, you know, what if, you know, and there was something sort of, I don't know, relevant and kind of timeless about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you first, you know, found out you were auditioning for Firefly,
Yeah.
what did you know about Joss Whedon at this point?
Well, I knew Buffy, of course. I didn't know much about him at all, and there was no script when I auditioned. There
Oh,
was
really?
Just, yeah, there's a scene in the pilot where I say, I am very smart, which I really am in real life.
Typecasting.
That's all I had. It was like 2 pages. So I was flying to LA to meet him, and I walked into the room and I said, "Hey, hello. My name is Sean, and nice to meet you, sir. And so tell me, what is this show about?" And so I got to hear it from Joss's mouth, and Joss. It's like just to hear him kind of tell the tale of Firefly firsthand was sort of like,
Well, it's amazing and probably really freaking confusing when you
Yeah.
first are sitting there as an actor and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah.
So
But
did
then
you?
I sort of fell in love with him, as we all do
Yeah.
when we meet him, And I left that room and I called my agent and I said, "I know this is a long shot, and I know there's no script, and I know all of these factors are sort of up in the air, but like I really want to work with this man." And so the test was when we audition, we have to then test for the network, and it's this grueling, horrible process. The test wasn't for another 2 weeks,
Oh,
so I was
brutal.
out in LA. Yeah, I was out in LA, kind of like hoping nothing stuck other than Firefly. So
I mean, you and Summer Glau have such a bond on screen, and such I mean, you are the best brother, and the family. You think of your character, you think of family and love and unity. How did you guys create that relationship between the two of you that immediately was there?
yeah, that's a good question. It's funny, I get asked that from time to time, and we didn't really do anything. It was her second job ever. She crazily enough didn't think she was a good actress. So she was kind of very green and very sort of tentative about everything. And I sort of felt like as an actor, I was nurturing her. Like I was kind of trying my best to hold space for her and let her know that the work that she was doing was pretty remarkable. And I wasn't doing anything in regards to sort of like acting. It was just sort of this nurturing, energy that was kind of translating from actor to character. So it was sort of effortless for me.
It totally was just absolutely believable from the very first, second you guys were together on screen. Was everyone pretty surprised after the show was canceled, and then they were like, "Yeah, now we're gonna make a movie"?
Yeah, I was.
How did you? Well, first of all, how did you find out the show was being canceled?
We were all on. Oh no, God no! I was with my mom. Oh,
Oh,
I love you, Mom.
shout out to Mom.
Shout out, Mom. I was with my mom, and my phone was going berserk, and I knew we had been, we didn't get the back 9. We got like, let's make 2 more and see how it goes. So we could just tell, and it was kind of a sort of a, I don't want to say comical battle, but like from the get-go, the pilot, when Fox watched the pilot, they were like, "I don't get it. Why are there horses in outer space?" And Joss was like, "That's my show." And they're like, "Why aren't there any lasers?" And Joss is like, "'Cause they still have guns, And they're like, "Huh, where are the aliens?" And it was sort of like this ongoing, like, Joss was like, "Wow, you don't really understand
you don't get it,
what
do
I
you? Yeah.
created." And then he would joke, he'd, come to set, day after day and be like, "I just got another note from network, they want Melrose Space, like, they just wanted like people sleeping together, and they wanted, so we sort of kind of felt like we were, kind of the misunderstood child, but I didn't think none of us thought we would be canceled as soon as we were. There was talk about moving us around different nights and, showing the pilot as the Christmas special. Never really worked in our favor. I'm not in marketing, so I don't know, but yeah, no, I was with my mom, and there were a lot of voicemails from everybody, like, "Hey, this happened." Then we all went to Nathan's house and got really drunk and ate bean dip.
Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And I don't want to know what happened next.
I
so.
actually fell into a hedge that night. And Morena's boyfriend at the time drove us home, but I kind of went, whoop.
Oh my God,
Yeah.
I love it.
And that's probably on the
And I
internet
love you just
now.
a little bit more.
And my
after-
mom is going to hear about me falling into a hedge.
Well, we gave her a shout out. She'll maybe stop there.
Yeah.
So that happened, and then eventually the good
Yeah.
news that they're going to make this movie. So how did you,
Yeah, there was sort of like, there were rumblings of like, this isn't the end, and I had kind of I guess I felt a little jaded because I had been, I had been working with Fox for a while. I think that was my fourth canceled show with Fox, and
Fox is awful.
Yeah.
No, I love Fox.
I love
Just
Fox.
kidding.
I mean, I was with them for a while.
Fox
I
is
had,
great.
Is Scott here? Oh, there he is. Can you stand up and show everybody what Fox did to you? Amazing. Yeah, no, I had been working with, right at the beginning of my career was with Fox, and and then I had a deal with Fox, and I was working with Fox, and Firefly was like sort of my last canceled show with them, and there were, as with all the canceled shows, there was all this like, this isn't the end, and we're going to shop this around, and blah, blah, blah. So there was a lot of talk of that with Firefly, and I was sort of like, I didn't believe it, because there was nothing to hold on to that. And in my experience, shows just sort of petered out, and we all went on to different jobs, and Joss specifically was like, I'm not done with the show, and I was like, yay, go Joss. But I didn't really think anything was going to happen. And then Summer and I were at his house one night, and he was cooking us dinner, and I remember he was saying, I'm off to Cape Cod to, write the script. And I was like, what script? I was like, yeah, we're doing the movie. And I was like, shut up, and I was like, whatever, have fun in Cape Cod, And then, yeah, I actually don't think I really, even when my agent called about the movie and to go over the deal and blah, 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 and I still didn't believe it. And I remember at the table read when we were all sort of there, and I hadn't seen, Jewel had gone back to Vancouver, and I hadn't seen Marina in a while, and, there was just all of this, we were all there, and there were all these actors, like, sitting around a table, like, reading the words of these characters that I had missed and loved so much, and I kept losing my place in the script because I was just sort of like, marveling at how, wow, this is actually happening. Yeah.
I think everybody felt that way a little bit.
Yeah.
It was such an unusual situation.
It was,
and of course that was really the first time I think that a fandom made their voice really known.
Yeah.
I mean, it happened with
Thank you,
Star
brown
Trek.
coats.
The brown coats are the best. So I know you guys probably have a ton of questions too, and I'm sure everybody's been in a panel this weekend, but if not, the mic is over here, and you can line up, and we'll get through as many questions for Sean as we can. I guess we can start with you. You hopped right up there. Are you ready?
Yes.
Go for it.
Thanks for coming to Kansas City.
Oh, thanks for having me. For all of you who asked, I had barbecue twice yesterday.
My question
feels
is,
so good.
could you share a favorite moment in all the shooting, and particularly one with Summer?
Oh, God. Just one? I mean, it kind of became a thing where we would blame anything that happened on set, even if she wasn't there. We would blame it on Summer. So if like a light fell, someone would be like, Summer! Damn it! And then there was one time we did that, and she totally, like, as serious as can be, was like, I'm just trying to do my job. And we're like, oh, sweetheart, we're totally making fun of you right now. Like, you're so good at what you do. Just shh, it's okay.
That's amazing. Yes, do we have another question?
In today's age of reboots and sequels and everything else, would you like to see Firefly held in memory as this great creation, or would you like to see it rebooted, or as a sequel, 20, 30 years later, the next generation of Firefly?
God, that's a great question. I was just saying the other day that the Gilmore Girls is coming back. And Full House.
Fuller House.
But only it's fuller.
It's fuller.
And that's so wonderful for all of them. But I don't, it's a great question. Yes, like, could we sort of leave it as it is? I selfishly, no. I would love to do more. I would love, Simon and Kaylee to have little children running around the ship, and I think there were so many directions all of it could have gone. So, no, I think, listen, it's perfection as it is. Would we embark on more and have Joss spearhead it? I don't think he could do it wrong. So, however it happens.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I can't wait for the Gilmore Girls. So excited.
Yes, hi.
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 So I have a question about your character who really lived in two different worlds, right? You came from a family that was very well off and then ended up on the spaceship with, these space pirates. So can you maybe talk about your favorite scene as Simon from the world of the wealthy and, the establishment, and your favorite scene as Simon Rogue?
I didn't have many scenes as, the wealthy established. I think probably the place where I got to blend all of this, I think, was in Ariel, when I sort of came up with that heist, which was so fun for me as an actor, because it was sort of taking, I know what's here in this hospital, I know how we can get it, and here we go. So that was probably one of my more favorite scenes, to sort of, kind of take Simon a little bit further and not have him be so preoccupied with his sister, and just kind of get his hands dirty and be a part of the crew. Yeah, Joss called that my Ocean's 11 scene.
Thank you.
Because I got it like 6 hours ahead of time, and it was so hard to learn all that dialogue, and we just kind of shot it. And
Thank you.
Thank you. Joss incidentally gave you your first villain role too, and
He sure
Much
did,
Ado. How was
yeah.
playing Don John?
Oh, so amazing and terrifying and exhilarating, and
you were
all of the above.
great.
Oh, wow, thank you.
You're welcome. You deserve it.
you.
How was tackling Shakespeare? So that was also your first time
Doing Shakespeare.
Doing Shakespeare,
Ever,
huh?
yeah.
Just jump into it.
I know.
Yeah.
It was terrifying. I got an email from him like really late at night. I was in Chicago working on another show, and I got back to the hotel and I opened my laptop, and there was this email from Joss, and he said, this is what I'm doing. I'm throwing together this movie, and I need a sexy villain. What saith you? And so I emailed back, oh, Joss, does this mean you think I'm sexy? And then he emailed back, stop fishing for compliments, Sean. Of course I think you're sexy. And he's like, are you in or are you out? And I was like, oh my God. And I was so terrified. I didn't know, I was like, I can't do Shakespeare. I can't do Shakespeare for Joss. And like, I had always avoided his Shakespeare Sundays. Like, I was so scared of them. Yeah, so then I went to LA and I told my manager, I was like, hey, Joss emailed me about this. My manager was like, take out your phone right now and tell him you're on board. And I was like, ooh, okay. And so I did it, and I was terrified. We all were terrified. I mean, I think it was Shakespeare, and it was like, we were all like, what are we doing? And we're shooting this in 12 days. And, he sat us all down, and he was like, I know exactly what I want. I'm going to set up my cameras. You're maybe going to have 2 takes. 1, hopefully, maybe 2. Know your dialogue, don't fuck it up. Basically is what he said. So we were all sort of, I think because of that, we kind of all did so much homework, and we had a lot of rehearsal time, and it was Joss's house, which we were all sort of familiar with, and Drunken Nights in his house was kind of familiar too, and that's kind of what the movie's about. So it was pretty terrifying and exhilarating.
Well, what a great juxtaposition to working on these, big budget films,
Yes.
and what a cleansing thing as an actor to be able to do something like that.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think, that's what he was doing. He was coming off the Avengers, and he was like, I just want to do a passion project, and come do it, come with me. And I mean, the party scene, it was just like, I marveled, because it was like everybody in his backyard somehow knew him and just showed up to be an extra, and it was, there were Cirque du Soleil ladies in the tree, and only Joss and Kai would be friends with Cirque du Soleil people, and but it was pretty remarkable, and I had a great time. I mean, we shot it, and it was exactly what he said. It was sort of like walking out on stage, because like, this was the take, and we don't know what's going to happen, but this is the take we're going to use, so here we go. And it was just like, he would yell cut, and I'd be like, whoa, I have goosebumps. Like, it was just exhilarating.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi, I was actually going to ask what it was like to work on Much Ado About Nothing.
Oh, do you want me to
we're
say
like
that
this.
all over again?
No. Did you have a favorite part of working on that production?
I think what's so delightful, I mean, we've just met, but I think it's so wonderful to meet Whedonverse people who I've heard so much about, but I haven't had, the chance of, so it's nice to be in the same room, and then, to work with, people that I've loved and respected, and that was pretty awesome. Making out with Ricky Lynn Holm was kind of fun, and that was my first day of shooting. And what I was just saying before about it being sort of this electric kind of like one take thing, and he would yell cut, and I'd be like, wow, this is awesome, and that was my first day when I had to make out with Ricky, and we'd yell cut, and I'd be like, yeah, this is so fun, and Joss would be like, are you sure you're gay? And I was like, yeah, I mean, it's just so fun.
That's great. Thank you. Yes, hi.
Hello. What part of Firefly would you most like to see in real life?
If you could
That's a good question.
pluck any, I guess, technology or, living in space or.
God, wouldn't it be so nice to savor a strawberry? The way that she did. Wouldn't it be lovely if strawberries were that spectacular? We could have sex with strawberries all day long.
That's nice. Next. Hi, go ahead.
Hi. Much love to you. We all love and appreciate you here. Is there anything that you're working on or you're trying to get a gig in the future that we should be on the lookout for?
Oh yeah, no, there's a few things that I'm working on. I've got a few films coming out. So a film that with just a Ken, so it just sold. That will be out in the winter, I think. It's called People You May Know. I also have another film that's actually of this genre called Isra 88, where I play a doctor in outer space again. Yeah, but he's a marine biologist. He just has a PhD. He's not like Simon or anything. And then I have another film that I did with a lovely actress, June Squibb, called The Visit. That should be. I'm not sure what's happening. I think that'll probably like hop around the festivals. And then I'm slated to go do another film in a month called Soar.
Well, we look forward to it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. Yes, hi.
Hello. My sister and I have this running debate. What is your theory on Shepherd Books' past with the Alliance?
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's a good one.
Such a good question. I almost want to no comment. I don't want to sound stupid. I don't know enough, I don't think. I don't know.
What's your theory?
What's your theory?
That he used to be an operative.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yeah, if not still already is. Maybe.
So that's your theory. There you go.
I never trusted Ron.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, how are you?
Hey, I'm good. I'm here, so A plus.
A plus.
I was just wondering, I mean, we're obviously all nerds here for a million different things.
Yay for the nerds.
What are you a nerd for? Who would be a guest, or what would be something that you just go fanboy for?
Well, I'm certainly a Shakespeare nerd. I'm definitely a Lord of the Rings nerd. I was just in New Zealand in October, and you should have seen me at Hobbiton. I almost wet myself.
Thanks.
Yeah.
What shows are you watching on television right now?
Oh, good question.
Thanks.
I know. Oh gosh, I don't know what I'm watching.
Are you watching Game of Thrones?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I try. Well, I'm not up
You're
to
behind.
speed.
Okay.
I'm so far behind.
Like several seasons?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So shush.
I will.
What am I watching?
You can get back to me on
I've
that.
recently binge watched Penny Dreadful, which is one of my. I couldn't stop watching that. I have to get back to you. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know how it happens with DVRs. I don't even know. It's like it just does it for you.
It's changed my life.
Yeah.
DVR is amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, hi.
Hello.
Oh, look at you.
I actually had a question about comic books or comic book heroes.
Okay.
You had the opportunity to play a villain on the DC side of things.
Yeah.
If you could switch it up and head over to the Marvel side of things, is there any character you might be interested in playing?
So when I get asked this question, I want to ask you.
Ask me who I would play?
No. Oh, yeah. Who would you play?
But also, who should he play?
Yeah,
You
like I feel like sometimes, I don't know, we as actors don't see things that the audience sees, so I can sort of be like, oh, I think that guy's really, like I'm obsessed with Nightwing right now, and I'm kind of in love with him. But then I don't know, like because I'm doing the voice for him, I don't hear things or see things that y'all see. So then I flip it sort of, what do you, if you would think that. Am I making sense?
I think you'd make a pretty good Wonder Man.
Oh.
Okay.
I don't know.
We're gonna have to get into that
Wiki it.
after. Yeah. Wonder Man.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know there was a Wonder Man. Does he get to wear bracelets and spin? Because I do that already.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi. Okay, this is a question about improvement, not politics. The question is, if you could change one thing about the industry to make it better, what would that be?
Oh, what a great question.
The entertainment industry?
The entertainment industry?
Yeah, or TV, or...
Okay.
Wow. That might be a question for you, too.
Well, yesterday we were talking a little bit about when we had the stand panel and someone asked him, what art form do you feel like, even with technology, should not go away? I thought that was a really great question. And I was thinking like storyboarding, like hand storyboarding should not go away. I like that.
I mean, yeah, that too. I would also love to cut down on the reality television. I mean, personally, I don't think some of it should even be allowed. It's ghastly. It's uninspiring.
But it's not even reality.
Right.
I mean like
that's
the
thing.
competition shows.
Right.
Like if you throw in a competition, that's great. But
like Survivor.
yeah,
or,
Survivor,
yeah.
Amazing Race. Those.
And I love the Kardashians.
Who are you?
And not to harp on those lovely ladies, but how good is that for us? I don't know. And how much is it taking away from the art form and the storyboarding? And I don't know. So I would say if I could change anything, we'd have to have a cap on reality television. Certain, certain requirements.
I agree, and I don't think that, some people may think that Sean's saying this, because he's an actor, and he thinks that reality is taking away from the actors' jobs. I don't think that's what you're saying at all. I think it's more like it's degrading to society.
Yes, it takes away. It doesn't inspire.
It's not,
It's like we're watching hateful people be hateful to each other, which is, I think, strange.
Very strange. You're not hateful. You look
hi,
maybe a
Scott.
little towards some network, but go ahead.
What was your reaction, and what was the reaction of the rest of the cast when you read the end of Serenity?
Oh. Well, it's so funny. It wasn't supposed to be in the end. It was a pending trilogy, so I think when we read it, we were like, that's so beautiful. I can't wait for the next one. Which, just didn't happen.
You're still waiting.
We're still waiting,
And, can I ask another question?
Sure.
I cannot ask another question on that? Okay.
Oh.
It's okay. He can.
It's okay.
Go ahead.
Okay.
It's Scott.
Sorry. So if theoretically somebody like crowdfunded or something to bring back Firefly or do more movies, would you do it?
Of course. Yeah, of course. But I think, and I think I can speak for everybody. I think we all would, and I think we all feel very strongly that it should not be crowdfunded. There's enough money. I think the Browncoats and y'all have done so much already. We wouldn't want anyone paying a dime for it unless it's a studio or a network or somebody. There's so much money to be had in Hollywood. I don't think any of us feel that the fans should do anything except enjoy it when it comes out.
Hi, thanks for
Hi.
coming to Kansas City.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
My question for you is there anything in Firefly that they didn't touch upon that you would have liked to see? Any plot points?
Like Simon and Kaylee having babies?
Besides
that? Yeah, there was a bunch. I think we were sort of touching upon, like my experience with the show and what was so wonderful and different about Joss was he sat us all down and kind of was like, this is what I see, the evolution of your character. So I was sort of getting kind of intel to where we were going. We didn't really get there, because, obviously we didn't even do a full season. But I think sort of the notion, like I was saying before, of Simon, kind of getting his hands a little dirtier, becoming a more part of the crew. We were kind of touching upon that, even with wardrobe, like it was just all starting to shift a little bit. So I was really looking forward to that, probably mostly.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. So how much fun was it when Alan and Nathan called you and they were like, we're going to be doing this little web series?
Oh, that was so fun.
Called
yeah,
Con Men.
Alan and I met for lunch, and he sent me an email, and he said, hey, I've got this thing, and I didn't even read it. I said, yes, whatever it is, yes, let's go meet. And so we had lunch, and he was like, I'll send you the script. I'm like, doesn't matter, yes.
I'm in, doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter, I love you.
I learned this lesson long ago from my agent.
Right, yes.
When it's Joss or Whedon, people say yes.
Yes.
Hi.
Hi. I was wondering if you had to choose one, who would be your favorite coworker that you worked with?
Wait a minute. Did Jules send you?
That's like asking me who my favorite child is. It's like Sophie's Choice. I can't answer that.
But worse.
Jules State.
Hi. Hello.
Hi.
So speaking of your favorite child, as an actor and as a parent, how do you plan to introduce your kids to Firefly and explain this community to them?
Wow. How do I?
I think you should start with the little dolls.
Well, what's so funny, my daughter's on Instagram, and I posted pictures of somebody had made a Simon doll. I don't have a Simon doll by any, is that's you? I was hoping that you would resurface so I could get your proper name and stuff. And then my daughter saw it on Instagram. I was like, oh, I forget. She can see all that. And, I would be lying if I say she hasn't seen part of it. She's older, so my son is only 5. She's going to be 9 next week. And there's been, Firefly marathons, and, the TV's just on, and whether it be, kind of out of sight, like in the kitchen or whatever. So she's come through, and if it's inappropriate, I certainly wouldn't let her watch it. But I also, I kind of let her sort of see it and see the world. And she's of course I'm biased, but my daughter is pretty remarkable and pretty wise, and I think we'll sit down and watch it together. We're starting to watch all the Harry Potters together, which has been really fun. But she was the one who I picked her up from school not too long ago, like last year or something, and we were driving home, and she's in the back seat, and she was like, Baba, because she calls me Baba. Baba, did you know you're an actor? And I was like, yeah, sweetheart, I did. She's like, you're on Google.
It is the age where they start Googling.
And I was like, wow, what did you see on Google? Of course, I Googled me as soon as I got home. There's some shirtless pics, but nothing inappropriate.
We're kind of lucky we were just right before this age. We made all our boo-boos.
Yeah.
And now, you can't really Google anything too bad of our generation.
Right, yeah. Thank God.
Nowadays, forget it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, you know what? I have one more story that's really funny because, my daughter understands Firefly. She understands that I'm an actor. We just recently had a huge family move, so we actually live in the Midwest now. But we were in Target getting school supplies, and the list of school supplies is maddening. sometimes, especially when you wait till the last minute. So I had all this stuff, and I didn't even know what half of it was, and I'm sort of like frazzled, and we're in Target, and she's kind of hanging on the back of the cart, and I'm pushing the cart, and I'm like, where are the schools? Like, I'm all frazzled and sweating and weird, and then there's a manager, and he comes up, and I was like, hey, I'm so sorry, I'm just trying to find this. He's staring right at me, and I'm like, just these schools. I see these office supply or the schools, and he's just staring right at me, and I was like, are there school supplies? And he was like, and I was like, what? And he was like, have you ever heard of the show Firefly? And I was like, and I said, no. He's like, you look so much like, and I said, ah, ha, ha, like, my daughter's giggling, and I'm like, yes, that's me, da, da, da. And he was like, oh my God, like, started shaking, like, oh my God, I'm your biggest fan, I'm your biggest fan. And I was like, wow, thank you so much. So anyway, I'm looking for these, I was like, I've got these binders that I need. I mean, what is this binder? I don't even know what a divider binder is. And then, and so he's saying, yeah, I just can't believe you're here. Can I take a picture? And I was like, of course, let's take a picture. And his hand shaking so badly that he can't take the picture. So my daughter was like, I'll take it. And we're like, great. So she takes the picture. And then he's just like, oh my, I just can't believe, is there, if there's anything you need. And I was like, well, there are these school supplies that I'm looking for that I have to get.
You're like, a protractor right now.
Yeah, right? And then so, we said goodbye, and he didn't even show me where the school supplies were. And then she's on the back of the cart, and we're rolling away. And I said, sweetheart, how does that make you feel? And she's like, no, it's kind of weird. And I was like, yeah, but she's like, but it's kind of fun. I was like, yeah, it's kind of fun. And we just, we left it at that. And then we checked out. We got like half of what we needed. And then we were like walking to the car, and she said, no, Baba, you have to go say goodbye to him.
Aww.
And I was like, you're right, I do. So we went back in, and we found him, and we said goodbye.
That's so sweet.
Very sweet.
Oh, you're raising her right.
Yeah.
Yes, hi.
Hi. So, what was it like getting to punch out the man, the myth, the legend, Captain Malcolm Reynolds?
Yeah. It wasn't as gratifying as kissing Jewel, but it was it was a long time coming, so it felt good. Yeah. I was also the butt of a joke that day because I say, well, I can't even do it. Everyone can imitate me. On one take, I said, well, sleep easy. And I went, well, sleep easy. Or so, I thought something happened in my mouth, and everybody on set started laughing. And I was like, what? Relax. I'll do it again. And I couldn't do it over and over and over again. So I was kind of so I'm wondering if the punch came out of frustration for being laughed at for as long as I
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
What's your favorite Gilmore Girl?
Oh, God.
Now you're on the spot.
I don't know.
Again, Sophie's choice.
Yeah. I love Lauren Graham. I'll leave it there.
Okay. Thank you. Let's talk about Arrow really quickly.
Oh, okay.
2 episodes, you were great. Another evil character.
Thank you, yeah.
What was the sort of process like of diving into the DC universe there?
It was one of those, like, I auditioned as Mark, so I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I went in. It was a really interesting side, so it was a wonderful scene, and then I got the role, and I was like, great. And then I got up to Vancouver, and Andrew Kreisberg, the creator, who I'd known, I'd done a pilot with him years ago, sort of came up and he hugged me, and he was like, so, shrapnel? And I was like, what?
You're like, huh?
Like, huh? Yeah, I had no idea. So he sent me all this information on shrapnel, and so I didn't know anything was going on. I mean, they can't tell you anything, because if you don't get the role, then they have to kill you, and that sucks. But yeah, so that was it, and I just sort of, for me it was, I loved the whole, kind of the tone of that show, because it's like, shrapnel in the comic books is covered in, metal, and they sort of humanize the superheroes and the villains, and I love that. So it's easier to step into that, and I think as a character, I think what I loved so much about him was that he truly believed that he was, doing the right thing. Because I think it's harder to play a villain that's just like, mean or villainous. It's like, it's a whole other thing when you're, like with Don John, like I think he was so earnest and seemingly lovely to your face while he was, secretly destroying your life. So that's all very interesting and complicated as an actor to play. And so I think with Shrapnel, he truly thought he was, working for the greater good of, humanity.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Definitely. Yes. Do we have another question? Hi.
Hi. I know we've talked a little bit about new Firefly material. Free Comic Book Day was a few weeks ago, and I was wondering if you've read the new Serenity comic or what you thought of it.
I've not. I'm so far behind. I've got 2 kids and 2 puppies. It's hard at home.
Thank you. 5 and 9. 5 and 9?
5 and almost 9. Yeah, 9 next week.
Oh my gosh.
May 31st.
So in 10, 15, 20 years, what do you want people to remember about Firefly and Serenity?
Oh, I want them to think that season 4 was the best.
Great answer. Yes, hi.
Hi. The episode of Firefly I always wanted to see was Simon meeting Kaylee's parents.
Oh.
I wonder how you think that would have gone for Simon.
Not well. At all. She probably, Jewel and I joked, like, if there was the Serenity 2, the opening scene that we see Simon and Kaylee, she'd be like, in her swollen, pregnant belly, barefoot, and barely wearing anything. I'd be sitting in the chair, and she'd be shaving my head because she's like, it's just, you're just too pretty, and we have a baby coming. You can't think about that, And I always thought, I don't know, meeting her parents, she'd probably be like, take off the vest, like, muss him up a little bit and get him over. I'd probably embarrass her.
Thank you.
Is there a one Simon line that envelops the whole character that stands out to you?
A bunch, but I think this must be what going mad feels like. I think it kind of encompasses his entire experience on the ship.
Yes, hi.
Hi. Love the show. My question, Simon had to be so straight. He had to be so formal. How hard was it working with that cast and crew to keep that straight, formal, boxed up little character?
Persona.
Yes.
It kind of speaks about the cast because it was sort of this really unique experience where we all were so close, as friends and now family, and we could laugh and have a great time. But the second the cameras were rolling, it was really sort of like, oh, we go to work now, and we respected each other as actors and as people, and like hour-long television is tricky sometimes. They always shoot for a 12-hour day, and you're lucky if you get out of there in 16 or 18 hours. And Firefly was my first experience that we were like making our days. We were done at the 12-hour mark, and I didn't understand how that was possible given the fun we were having, and like even days in the cargo bay when like everybody was there and there was so much coverage, there was so much to do. For some reason, it just sort of it worked. I mean, the day that we were shooting the message, and there's that blooper reel where we're all sort of listening to the recording, and the camera's going around 360, and Nathan pops under and under and under and under. And he did that during rehearsal, and then we shot it. My mom was on set that day, and then we were done with the scene, and then Joss was like, all right, let's set it up again. We have to get that thing that Nathan did. Like, we have to catch that. And we was like, so there was room to like sort of like mess around and have a great time. And thank God Joss took time to grab that, because it's just one of the funniest moments I remember. Like, and I certainly did not keep a straight face at all in that. Like, I couldn't for the life of me. But yeah, it was just sort of remarkable that we were, and it wasn't the actors. It was also the crew. It was kind of everybody involved. It was a well-oiled machine, and did our job and we had a great time, and then we wrapped and usually went to Nathan's house to eat bean dip.
Thank you. Thank you. Sean, I can't believe it, but we only have time for one more question. I know. But you're going to be downstairs for the rest of the day, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so y'all can go downstairs, say hi.
Yeah.
And
I'm
what's
sitting
up?
next to you.
And whatever else you want to say to Sean.
And you'll be right next door to me.
I will be next door to you. Yes.
So this is the last question. No pressure.
No pressure.
Yeah, just make it really, really good.
Yeah.
Out of all of the roles you've ever done as an actor, what is the one you enjoy doing the absolute most?
Way to save it for the last. Besides Simon, let's take Simon out of the equation, right? Because everyone knows how much I love Simon. Probably I did a movie called Brian Song, and Brian Piccolo, I think, like all encompassing. I think because I was playing a real life person, I'd never done that before. His wife, or his widow, was helping us write the script, and I got to she was a phone call away, so I get to ask her anything I wanted, Did he like pasta? Did he like this? Did he like, all that stuff. And just the cast and the crew, and it was just one of the more memorable experiences of my career.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Do you prefer to play, do you prefer to play people who've actually been alive? And is there a character that hopefully one day you'll get a chance to get a project going that you want to portray?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I would love to. I can't think of.
I'm gonna find one for you. A good one.
I love Montgomery Clift. I think he's the most underrated. People don't even know who he is.
Everyone's Googling right now.
Yeah.
Even your daughter.
Right. Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's. And do you write at all? Do you ever have a desire to?
Yes, I have a desire. I don't. I think I collaborate more and I develop more, and I can kind of.
Writing takes so long.
Well, I think that's what it is for me.
Yeah.
It's daunting, and it's something I kind of don't jump into because I don't know. It's hard to start.
It is, but it's good. Collaborating is the way to go with that, for sure. Because then you can just tell your story, and someone else has to do all the hard work.
Yeah.
And that works out pretty well for you.
Yeah, because I'm so lazy.
Yeah, I do know that about you.
Yeah,
just kidding.
I'm sure you heard that.
So, Sean, thank you so much. This has been a great way to close out, our time on the main stage. You guys are amazing. Please give one more big round of applause for Sean Maher.